Hello, Steve Marcinetti here with CCI. And one of the things that I love about my job is I get to see laundry operators from all over the country succeed with our products. And considering that there are so many options in the payment space these days, I can see how operators have a lot to digest when making a decision about what products and companies to partner with. It's really easy to get caught up in all the technical details and feature differences, but at the end of the day, I think what everyone wants to feel confident about is whatever they choose will lead them towards success. We thought it would be a great idea to ask some of our customers to join us for a discussion about their business and how they're leveraging CCI products.
Well, hello, Kevin. It is great to see you here, and I am really excited to talk to you today. I'm very excited to kind of share a little bit of your history, or have you share a little bit of your history and some of your wisdom through the years that you've worked with us, and you've been a part of the CCI family for quite a while, and so very much appreciate you sharing that experience with us. And so why don't I just start by asking you to tell us just a little bit about yourself and how many stores you have, how long you've been in the business. If you don't mind, tell us about how you got started.
Sure, Steve, and thank you for the invitation. Good to be with you. We operate laundromats in Massachusetts, in the Boston South Shore area. My dad started our business in 1969, which means for our family, it's 52 plus years now operating laundromats in this area. We operate 9 locations, and they're all running on with CCI's LaundryCard system.
Yeah, that's amazing. The history that you guys have had there, I can only imagine. Certainly, there were no payment systems in 1969, so you guys had a lot of coin years under your belt before you decided to make the plunge into card.
We certainly did. We had plenty of years, and we're glad to have made the step and the conversion at this point.
Yeah, and I know CCI wasn't your first card product, if I remember back in. Do you remember what year the first card store you guys did? Do you remember what year that was?
I think that was in 1991, and I think we were the second store in the country running a card system,
Yeah.
and it was way too early.
Yeah.
We figured that out 5 or 6 or whatever years in, so we looked around for a more up-to-date or state-of-the-art card system, and I remember meeting you at one of the clean shows, and took me a couple of clean shows, I think, to be ready to make the switch. But once we did, we put our first CCI store in, converting one of our coin stores in 2007.
Yeah.
And we went right after it. And by 2010, we had our 9 stores all converted and up and running with CCI.
Well, you definitely jumped in with both feet, and obviously saw some value there. It does take people a little time sometimes to kind of come around and do that due diligence and get comfortable with the idea of eliminating coins. And it's impressive considering the history you guys have had running coin and being such early adopters. Obviously, you saw a benefit in it early on. So I want to talk a little bit about that, particularly. You've got a lot of experience converting stores from coin to card. Can you just kind of walk us through a little bit of an outline of how you go about, converting a store to LaundryCard?
Sure. What we found worked for us was we would get the pre-wiring or cabling done ahead of time. So we would go in while the store was running on coins and get all the cables run behind the scenes into the areas of the machines where we would be installing readers, and then the home runs all back to where we plan to install our exchangers. That took time because you got to get into the ceiling and behind machines and take off service panels and whatever. So
But that generally didn't impact your customers, though. You're able to do that while you're open. Customers can continue to operate and use the machines. Yeah.
Yeah, we often didn't even tell them what we were up to.
Yeah, right.
We just wanted to get that part of the job done so we could come in and then do everything else in one day. We schedule the installations typically on a Thursday. We never like to do anything on a Friday, but we wanted to be close enough to our first weekend so that everything would go as planned. Then on a Thursday, we would come in and install exchangers and readers on the machines, keeping the store running on coins as long as we could. Finally, taking the plunge and making sure everything was ready to go with cards, and sometimes limiting downtime to just a couple of hours. But by the end of the day on Thursday, we were officially a LaundryCard store, and that's when we would begin the process of explaining how things work to customers. What we found worked in every location was we would staff the store for about a week and a half through 2 weekends.
Okay.
And we would go 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. in 4-hour shifts. And we would train a core of customers, showing them, usually it was a 1 or 2 minute drill.
Yeah.
Once they came in and loaded a machine, we would let them know that we had a new way of starting washers and dryers. And again, it was a quick demonstration and getting them a new laundry card. And after that, they were pretty much off and running. Then after that second weekend, with enough customers knowing how to use it, we felt the stores were ready to run self-service again. Anyone who came in after that would either figure it out themselves or have somebody else who had been shown and knew how to do it. And we actually found customers enjoyed showing someone else how to use the new laundry cards. They like to be the one who knew how to do it. So that worked out for us.
Yeah, it's actually always been interesting to me that I think in a lot of laundromat communities, where the people see each other every week, that there's a bit of a community there in that store. So if you go on Saturday mornings at 9 o'clock, you probably see the other people that go at 9 o'clock on Saturday, and they probably build up a bit of a friendship and or a kinship anyway. And so when something new shows up, they're pretty willing to help each other out. And that's one of the nice things about this industry is the repeat business and the fact that it can almost self-educate. The customers almost self-educate themselves. And I remember you telling me that story many times, over the years of how just customers have helped each other get adapted to the product. So that's great. I would also commend you over the fact that you would staff the store at least for a couple of weekends to get that introduction done. And I know that in my past that has almost been the make or break sometimes for how successful an installation can go, when there's at least somebody who knows what's going on to be available for that core customer group. So excellent for having that in mind and doing so. It sounds like it worked out.
Yes, it did. You're exactly right. Yep.
Great. So, the other thing that I get asked a lot, and you may as well, because I'm sure people know that you run a lot of card stores in your area, is just as it relates to customer acceptance. Early on, certainly back in the 90s, the idea of eliminating all the quarters in the store comes with mixed thoughts from store owners' perspective, and usually those thoughts are based on whether or not they think their customers will adapt to a coinless store, to where they don't have to use their quarters anymore. What has your experience been from a customer acceptance perspective? How have they adapted as you've migrated stores off of coin?
Well, even back in 2007, of course, ATMs had been around for quite
Sure.
some time. And just about, I think, 2007 or somewhere in there, grocery stores and the large hardware chains were beginning to install and introduce self-service checkout lanes. So that helped. People said, well, this is like my grocery store that I go to, that sort of thing. And they've at least had seen something similar. And we found that running a store with coins, self-service, compared to running a store with cards self-service, the cards actually helped our self-service operations. First of all, because we had 2 state-of-the-art exchangers there with touch screens and the audio and visual video prompts. And that was sort of like a virtual attendant. Customers very quickly learned, they go up, they touch the screen, and then the audio prompts led them step by step. through the process of either getting a new card or adding money to the card they already had. So that, to me, was a big improvement, and it, again, was like having an attendant there to help customers when we weren't around.
Sure.
If they have a problem with a machine, before with coins, we would have to say, well, we can mail you a refund. And that sometimes wasn't good enough.
Yeah.
So with the cards, we were very happy to say, well, we can get the money right back on your card so you can use another machine and you won't have been delayed or lost out. And that was really a big plus for customers who were sometimes in a stressful situation. We were able to say, we can fix this for you and we can do it right now. And again, that was one of the things that made card systems run better in for a self-service store. With the cards, we began and we still use the Wash to Win bonus awards. And that's something that customers didn't have with coins. So that's a plus for customers. And then maybe the biggest difference is that with cards, we didn't do this right away, not at the beginning, but we very quickly began taking debit and credit cards.
Yeah.
And it started out maybe 10 to 15% of the customers would try using their debit or credit card instead of the cash, which they were used to. And now it's over 50%, we've found these days.
Wow.
50% of the value that's put on laundry cards is put on using either a debit or credit card. And that means that's a very, very popular feature. And again, people appreciate that kind of a feature, which they could never have done with coins. Kevin,
beyond that Wash to Win program you talked about, I think, there are some other features that you like about the LaundryCard, system that you're also using in the operation. Can you tell us about some of the other LaundryCard features that you like?
I think the other feature that we use most often is the special messages feature, where we can enter a message that will pop up when a customer puts their laundry card in at one of the exchanges. That has been a big plus. I mean, it's really been an excellent tool for us. We use it whenever we generate a refund for a customer. We can automatically post a message there, so they see a generic message telling them they got the refund and for what machine it was, and we thank them for using the laundromat. Now, we can also put other messages on there asking them to give us a call if we need to reach a customer. And again, because we're self-service, that's an invaluable tool for us to reach a customer, communicate with them, and it's seamless and it really works very, very well.
Yeah, I guess that feature is working as designed. Is being in an unattended space, you don't have that opportunity to necessarily talk to somebody when you executed something. So this is a message that you're able to present to them after you've executed a refund, like you mentioned. So it's another way to kind of have a personalized experience with the system and the store without actually having to physically be there. So that's great. That's awesome. I wanted to kind of circle back around a little bit more about your unattended business, and that's obviously a model. Have you guys been unattended since the first store at the very beginning? Have you ever operated attended stores, out of curiosity?
We never
have. So yeah,
it was my dad's design. He was a general manager for a larger chain of fully staffed and full service laundry centers. They called them. They had coin-op laundry and dry cleaning. Coin-op dry cleaning back in those
Coin-op
days.
dry cleaning. Wow.
They did amazing.
Yeah.
And that's how it was back in the early 60s, I guess. But at any rate, when he went into business for himself, he said, well, I know how I wanted to run, and his idea was to just do self-service, and that's how he taught me to run them, and that's how we have always run them ever since. So there really wasn't a question when we decided to go with a card that we were going to run them self-service. And fortunately, customers don't have too much trouble with it at all. In fact, it's really second nature to people these days. and that's how it's been working.
Yeah, and I think it would be helpful too. I mean, aside, I know we're here to kind of talk a bit about LaundryCard, but I think it'd be to hear just a little bit about how you've been able to manage unattended stores, and maybe share a few tips of how you've been able to be successful in an unattended environment.
Well, after the refunds that we're able to do, which improve it, we because we're self-service, for the 9 stores, we maintain a 24-hour, 24/7 live answering service. So if someone needs, and we keep the number posted in the various locations, so if someone has a problem, there's a phone number for them to call. They talk to a real person, which people sometimes don't expect these days.
Right.
But, that operator can take down the information, and they text a group of us.
Okay.
And depending upon who's on call, we can call that customer back. And as I've mentioned before, because LaundryCard lets us take care of card issues or that sort of thing, we can often fix a problem for a customer right off the bat. The other thing that we've done that's not LaundryCard related exactly is we have full coverage video systems in every location. We upgraded all of them last year, and they work very well. The time synchronizes with LaundryCard data, and because we have that as a resource, we can go back and find out the details of any incident that may have happened with a customer, help them out that way. Sometimes we can just jump on and check out a situation live and help them as they're talking to us on the phone. So again, that's something we do because we're not there,
Right.
but we have that connection with customers either as they're using the store and as working through a problem, or after the fact, so we can determine what might have happened to pass that information along after the fact.
Sure. Great. Now, one of the things that I'd like to touch on too, because something I know about you that has always intrigued me is that, I would classify a couple of different types of LaundryCard store owners. We have those that just use it out of the box, very simply take it as it is, and I think have been very successful that way. And then we have others that, like you, that have kind of really been interested in what you can do with additional data out of the system. And I think early on, you probably were one of the pioneer driving forces of us adding more accessible raw information. And I think, we have this ability for you to kind of extract data and do things. And I've always been interested in what you guys have done, because I know you take advantage of the ability to get to some of that raw data, and you've leveraged it to help you operate. Can you just tell us a little bit about what you're doing with some of this more advanced capability, and how it's helped you in running the stores?
Well, sure. It is based on CCI's transact data, or the open to close transactions that are recorded by the LaundryCard systems at the store, and as you mentioned, that we can download. We download them every day. That's an automated process for us. I won't bore you with the details there, but it's something that is working and that we really count on. Once the data is downloaded, we have a file for the previous day's business, and it's every transaction that has occurred, and then we can generate reports drawing from that data. One of the reports that we take a look at first thing every day is just a very simple CCI error report, we call it, daily error report, and that will list all of the current errors for any location in any of our 9 locations. It's always nice to see A-OK in the report. Our record is 13 days of error-free in
across
all
9 stores. That's actually quite a bit.
Across all 9 stores. We had 13 days in a row. I think it was in March of this year, so that is our record.
And some of those non-AOK messages, I'm guessing, they could be something as simple as a dispenser jam or a bill acceptor that's been clogged up, mechanical things. But it's great to get the AOK.
We get that information first thing in the morning, so we can
react
plan
to it.
a trip to that location. So we fix that component proactively, get it back in service because that's our backup.
Sure.
So that's our redundancy, and that's why the systems work for customers as well as they need to. The other thing, one other report that we generate, again, first thing in the day is what we call our idle machine report. That takes a look at the data, goes through the list of machines that we have in each location, and it lets us know if any machine hasn't been used, say in the last 24 hours or maybe 48 hours for a different type of machine. And that will notify us of either a machine that's been tagged out of service by a customer or one of our attendants, one of our cleaning people, or it might be a load that's been left behind that no one has noticed. Years ago when we ran with coins, we would come in on a Monday, we'd open the coin box and we'd find no coins in the box. And we'd look in the basket and sure enough, there'd be a load sitting there. Now we can do that every morning right across the 9 stores, and it happens automatically. We can find out when a coin box hasn't gotten, or virtual coin box hasn't had anything been put into it. And so again, it gives us a nice quick notice. We can make plans, call someone who might be at the location to bag up that load and free up the machine for someone else who wants to use it. Very important for the 60 and 80 pound washers and dryers that are in high demand.
Well, that's actually really clever that you're basically almost I would almost call it you're using artificial intelligence to some degree to determine that it's not normal for a machine not to have run a cycle for a certain amount of time, and then leverage that data to say there's something wrong. That machine shouldn't be idle for 2 days, and it's not a normal behavior. And so you've been able to leverage that bit of information to detect I need to go there and check, and it sounds like oftentimes someone's left a load behind. Timid, they won't take someone's load out of a machine. They'll just let a machine sit there idle for a couple of days, which is frustrating for the customer too. So you're not only helping yourself from a revenue perspective, but customers don't want to wait for machines longer than they have to. So that's very clever. That's very clever. Yeah, I think that's been one of the things that I had always hoped when we developed the system, is that someone would leverage that data beyond our own ideas, and we would probably learn quite a bit to maybe implement some of those directly into the system. But I'm glad to see that you've found good use to it, and it's helped you a bit.
Well, sure.
I think, this has been terrific. I really appreciate you taking some time and telling us how you've been able to leverage LaundryCard in your stores. And it's really quite amazing. The laundry that you guys have had in your market, obviously something is working, or else you wouldn't be where you are today. And I'm glad that LaundryCard's been a part of that. And again, I want to thank you very much for being a part of this, and very much appreciate you being part of the CCI family.
Well, thank you, Steve. It's good to be part of the family. LaundryCard has been a success story for us, and it's really made a difference in how we manage and run our stores, and the biggest part is it's made a tremendous difference for our customers. They love it just as much as we do.
Yeah, that's awesome. Thanks, Kevin. Really appreciate your time today. So long.